If you have been on the internet for any length of time watching videos from people talking about becoming an entrepreneur or going out on your own, I'm sure there's something you've heard a ton, niche down. That phrase is everywhere. Even when I decided that I wanted to start creating content and I was looking for some videos and some advice online, everything was telling me to niche down. Now, I find that phrase to be overused and very much oversimplified, but there is a nugget of truth in there. If you want to be an entrepreneur, start freelancing, there is a lot of value in being a specialist. You do need to identify a specialty, a niche, but I'm going to stick with specialty. And I have found in my own experience that being a specialist has really paid off. I started out years ago when I first decided I wanted to start freelancing. I said, oh, I'll be a generalist. I'll do a little bit of everything. And I failed. It was such an epic fail. But when I actually reconsidered and thought through what made most sense for me, I decided that I needed to specialize. And when I did that, my business took off. Now I'll be making six figures this year. So that is why I'm a big fan of specializing. I have seen some people online disagree with me. Hey, to each his own, but I do feel very confident in sharing, at least from my own experience, that being a specialist has paid off for me. When I considered what really made sense for me, when I asked myself this sort of key list of questions that I think every person needs to ask themselves when they're ready to become a freelancer, and I actually have a link to a worksheet with that list of questions in the description if you want to dive into that. But when I asked myself that list of questions, I realized that I really wanted to stick with good old media relations. I do public relations, which is a huge umbrella, communications, an even bigger umbrella than that. But I had to really ask myself, which piece do I want to do? I was trying to do a little bit of social media, do paid ads, do marketing, lead generation. None of that worked for me. I had to really come to the conclusion that media relations and traditional sort of public relations in the most traditional way that a lot of people think about it is what made sense for me, and specifically doing that for organizations that are focused on social impact and social justice and making a difference in the world. And once I aligned with that specialty, all of the doors opened for me. So how did I land on that specialty? What was the formula that I used? It's simple. Expertise plus experience plus interest equals specialty. Now, let's dive into each aspect of that formula. Expertise is what you know, plain and simple. What are you an expert on? What can you talk about for hours on end? What is something that you are extremely knowledgeable on? Like I said, I do media relations for social impact and social justice driven organizations. And part of that is because I have an expertise in those issues. I watch and read and listen to the news pretty much all day, every day. I'm very tapped in on issues. I really keep up with what's going on in the world. So I am an expert. I have a high amount of expertise in a lot of different issues that are going on in that space. And I have a lot of expertise when it comes to media relations and doing that aspect of PR. So putting together simply what I know with the next thing, which is experience, what I've done. So technically you could have a lot of expertise about something because you read a lot and you did a lot of research, did a lot of study, but there also needs to be that aspect and that element of execution, of the experience piece, which is not just what you know, but also what you've done. What have you actually executed and what have you done again and again that you can show I know what I'm doing here. So again, on that media relations piece, yes, most recently, I've been doing a lot of PR in the social impact space, but for 10 years, I have done PR for tech companies, for travel brands, for startups, for healthcare brands. I've been all over the map. So regardless of the subject area, I have a lot of experience with media relations and with building relationships with reporters and pitching them. So that is another reason why, as a part of this formula, I landed on media relations, because I know that's where my experience is really, really strong. And the last aspect, or the last element of this formula, is interest. And this is something that can't be discounted. What do you like? What are you actually interested in? Again, for me, the aspect of, really being connected with what's going on in the world, with helping to make the world a better place, especially for historically marginalized people. That is something that I'm interested in. And that's something that I work on outside of my consulting work. So that's something I know I will stick to, even when it gets difficult, even when it gets stressful. That interest is what can help keep me going. And a lot of times, especially when people are considering their niche or their specialty, they think about what's popular, what's in demand, what is something that would be of interest to other people. But you also need to ask, is it of interest to you? Because that is what's going to help you stick to it and stick through it when it's not going to be easy every day. There are other, like I said earlier, other areas of PR that I've worked in that are fun. Like I used to do travel and lifestyle. I thought about going back to that. But if I really was real with myself, I said my interest there isn't as strong as it used to be. Like, that's great. Travel is a great time and a great industry to work in. But my stronger passion and my stronger interest is really with like helping people and helping to tell stories that need to be told. So the interest piece cannot be underestimated in terms of how important it is for you to pick a niche that is of interest to you. And ultimately, your goal is to find the thing at the intersection of these three elements: expertise, experience, interest. Where do they collide? And that is going to help you get to your specialty. So in addition to helping you have the foundation for creating your business and figuring out sort of the next steps you need to take and the plan you need to build after you've identified the specialty, the authenticity of your specialty is also going to help you connect with clients. When you are doing something that is not your expertise, you're not as experienced with it, you're not as interested in it, that will come across, and that will put you at a disadvantage when it comes time to find clients and really start to bring in business. But the exact opposite is also true, that if you are in alignment with the things that you're good at, the things that you've done before, the things that you know well, and the things that you care about, it will actually draw clients to you. It will create a level of attraction almost from a client to you, and will help you stand out from other people who are trying to do the same thing. So I think it's really, really important to spend time thinking through this niche, thinking through this specialty, and figuring out where it lands for you.